I've spent over $300,000 on courses, coaching, mentorship, cohorts, consulting, information to manifest more money in my life. And when I say manifest, I mean in a very practical sense, moving something from thought or idea into reality. I had the thought, the idea, the imagination of earning specific amounts of money, of living a particular lifestyle. And then I brought that into reality through learning things, through my increasing my awareness, which I had to pay for. Okay. So I've worked with some people who you may know, who you may not know, but I'll let you know who a couple of these people are. Brendan Kane being one of them. Brendan Kane wrote a book called Hook Point. He's like a viral specialist. His team taught me one thing. He has a whole big program, but one thing that was worth the 5 figures I paid them. It was about psychology, the psychology of the masses, my own psychology. It was well worth the money. I have paid Dan Coe, you may know of, J.K. Molina, James Kemp, Tom Noski. Tom Noski's program was fantastic. Time to Build, absolutely fantastic program. Who else? Nero Knowledge. I've bought 3 of Nero's offers so far, which have been great. I just haven't done one-on-one coaching with Nero. Lewis Mocker. Lewis Mocker is fantastic. One of my greatest mentors. A lot of the universal law concepts that I teach here, Lewis really broke them down well for me. And I love this style of teaching. So every cent I paid Lewis has been worth it. Who else? Steve Mellor. Tons of people. Plus people who you will never know. You will never see them on the internet. They don't want to be known, but they're worth multi-millions of dollars. And not just multi-millions of dollars for like a year or two. I'm talking decade plus. They really know about the money game. They really know about the business game. And this is for people who want to get into business, who want to make money through business, providing a service in the world. Now, if you don't want to get into business, continue to watch the video, because by the end of it, you will want to get into business and realize that business is the way to quantum jump your income. Not winning the lottery, not hoping somebody drops it out of the sky to you. Business. You need to be of service to people in the world. That is how you manifest money. Now, like I said, 5 steps I'm going to guide you through. But before I do that, I want to let you know that money all begins in the mind. I didn't necessarily pay all these people to learn practical steps. I wanted to know how they thought about things. It is valuable to be able to access somebody else's mind, someone's mind who has made the sort of money you want to make or has certain elements of the lifestyle that you would like to have. Because there's an effect of osmosis that will just naturally kind of like rub off on you simply by interacting with them. If somebody meets me in real life and learns from me, they're going to get an entirely different experience and an entirely different speed to get to their results. So I need you to understand, the game is all mental. You can learn all sorts of business online. You can learn all sorts of money online. You can learn all sorts of manifestation online. You can learn all sorts of reality creation online for free. But it's not until you change the way you think and invest in yourself that things will actually change for you. Because think of all the information you've consumed and your life is still the same. Why is your life still the same? Because you haven't invested in yourself. When you invest in yourself, it changes the way you think. You take it more seriously because you have exchanged your energy to get something. I invested, as I said, over $300,000, and I've made well over $1 million and hundreds of thousands of dollars more from the money I've invested so far, and I'll continue to invest in myself. Because why not? I've always got a positive ROI. Seems like it works to me. So, speaking about the way you think, the first step, and this is something I saw in common amongst all the people I have paid. You need to believe you are exceptional, that you are able to do things and access things that other people simply can't do. And I don't mean this in a pompous way or an arrogant way. You need to believe you are exceptional. You need to believe that you are worthy of getting the sort of money that you want to get. Now, self-worth has to boil down to a lot of things like emotional charges, which I talk about on this channel. If you watch I think it's in 19 minutes, I'll show you how to never have money blocks again, something along those lines. I think that's what the video is called. Usually there's guilt in the way or shame in the way that makes you feel unworthy of earning more money. But you absolutely need to believe that you are exceptional. And I don't just say that to make you feel good or in some love and light sort of way. The way you become exceptional is to simply do what other people won't do. Most people will not try and start a business. Most people will not think about how they can offer the world more value and exchange get paid. Most people will struggle with charging people more money. Most people will struggle with even considering what they can do to earn more money. But you are not most people. You cannot think you are most people. You need to be exceptional. Normal is for them. If you want to make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, you need to be exceptional. So you better start believing it, that you are different and you're capable of changing your life, that you are capable of dealing with the problems that come, that you are capable of earning the sort of money you want to earn. Most people just simply can't do it. But we're not most people over here. Now, speaking about what most people can't do, this brings me to number 2. So number 1 was believe you are exceptional. Number 2 is you have to be okay with failure. You have to understand that you are going to get rejected a bunch and you're going to fail a bunch. Now, this is a concept I call the hermetic dip. So when you first start something, you first start your business, right? Maybe you paid me, you joined the Next Realm and you started learning how to build up a business, build up an offer, and you're excited and things are ramping up and maybe you've made some money, but then what happens? Things dip down. They always do. They always do. Don't get it twisted. Anybody who just been up forever, the crash they're going to have is immense. So usually what happens is most people start, it's a rise, they feel good, and then it dips down. This is what I call the hermetic dip. Alex Hormozi, who's another business guy, Alex Hormozi calls it the valley of despair. It is kind of a valley of despair because in that valley of despair, in that hermetic dip, is failure after failure after failure. The reason I call it the hermetic dip is because it's based upon a universal law principle, the universal law of rhythm. What goes up must come down. The only reason you are up is because you were once down. So now that you're down in the dip, in the valley of despair, this is the universe testing you to see if you actually want what you say you want. Because if you actually wanted what you said you want, you will push through this dip. And I say push through because you are actually pushing through it. Once again, the universal law of rhythm. Rhythm has a pendulum, okay? Your life is like a pendulum, swings back and forth. Okay, you have times that are good, you have times that are bad. You have up times, you have down times. The tides go in, the tides go out. The sun rises, the sun sets. This is a universal law concept. Now, one of my mentors who I paid, Lewis Mocker, he has a concept called the cosmic pendulum. So your life swinging back and forth, and you need to push on this pendulum. And you're pushing on this pendulum in this valley of despair. And you're pushing on it, pushing on it, pushing on it. Failure after failure after failure. But here's the thing about failure. You're not failing. You're learning. Okay, when you learn to walk, you drop a bunch of times. When you learn to do anything, you don't do it completely correct the first time. That's just not a thing. It can be, but it's not a thing. All right. So, boom. During this time of learning, right? Learning from things going wrong and learning how to iterate and move things around, you are pushing on the pendulum. When the pendulum swings back, which it must, it comes with your reward. It comes with all of the money. So most people, because they're not exceptional, most people cannot deal with this failure state. They cannot deal with the rejection. So how do you end up dealing with rejection better? You need to just simply put yourself in positions where you can be told no, right? I mean, if you've ever been dating or ever tried to, get in a relationship and stuff, especially for men, you can get told no a lot, right? Until you get some things together, until you learn what to do, until you learn how to dress, you learn how to talk, you learn how to be cool, you learn how to have some swag, you learn how to be valuable, you learn how to be a good time, you learn how to be what women want, right? And that takes time and that takes some failures. So on a universal law level, failure is just rhythm. And when you see it like that and understand that reality is rigged in your favor because you're exceptional, every single failure is bringing you to a success. As long as you're learning from the failure and not sitting there and wallowing in the failure, because it's just part of the game. I want you to understand something, right? I need you to look at a staircase, okay? If you look at a staircase sideways, it's just a bunch of L's. It's just a bunch of L's that ascend you to where you want to go. A bunch of losses that ascend you to where you want to go. Anyone I know who has huge significant amounts of money, they have dealt with a lot of failure. And if they haven't, and they just like instantaneously got a lot of money fast, they lose it just as quick. They lose it just as quick because they don't appreciate it because they didn't deal with the dip. They're dealing with a different sort of dip. They made a whole bunch of money really, really fast. Boom, dip. They just have a worse dip. So, so be aware of that. Number 3. This is big. This is big. Remember, this is a culmination of the things I learned spending over $300,000. Okay. I wish somebody told me this sooner. The reason you are having a hard time earning more money, particularly through business, is that you are selfish. You are far too selfish. You only think about you. You only care about you. You only consider your feelings. You only care about your problems. And to be honest with you, the reason why so many people are like depressed and so many people are anxious about all this stuff and all these sorts of things is because they think about themselves too much. Consider what is depression, right? Depression is ruminating on negative feelings that you feel, right? Ruminating on them for a prolonged period of time. If you literally just went and thought about how you could help other people, you'd be less depressed. When you have obligations towards other people that you actually care about fulfilling, you would be less depressed. It'd be less problematic. It is very useful for your life to consider how you can help other people and stop being selfish. Why is this? Because money only comes to those who solve other people's problems. Money comes to those who are of service. I need you to understand something. Any time you have earned money, it is because you have been of service to somebody else. You have solved somebody else's problem. If you have a job, right, you're getting paid from your job right now. You are solving a problem for your employer. Your employer needs somebody to do the work that you do so that they don't have to do it. And in turn, they will pay you. When you go to the grocery store and exchange your money for food, the grocery store is solving multiple problems for you. But the main one is that you have somewhere to go to get food so that you don't die from hunger. That's basically it, right? So that is solving a problem. You need to either solve bigger problems for people or solve still a big problem for multiple people. If you are selfish, you will not earn more money. It is very incumbent on you. I don't know if I said that right. Whatever. It is very important that you think about other people's problems. You know, a lot of people are like, oh yeah, that's their problem. That sounds like a them problem. You need to be thinking about the them problems, the they problems. Remember, you're exceptional. Exceptional people think about the problems of the masses and help them. And in turn, you get paid. I wish somebody told me this sooner because, you see, especially when I was in my early 20s, I was incredibly selfish. Just like, I want to do my thing. I want to make my music. I'm going to be famous. Me, 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 me. I wasn't thinking about nobody else's problems. But I made the most amount of money in the fastest time when I thought about other people's problems. When I built something that solved someone else's problem for a good piece of money. So, and since, you know, this video has the word manifestation in the title, and a lot of people are on my channel due to manifestation because I do speak about these things, I want you to understand, one of the big gripes I have with the manifestation space in general is that it makes you only think about yourself. Is that it's so focused on you internally. And the only reason you can think about yourself in the way that you do all the time, only thinking about you, is likely because you live in a prosperous nation. It is a privilege to be able to think about yourself 99% of the day and not think about anybody else. But it's stopping you from earning money. Here's the thing. There's some statistics out, right? That people who are more like religious, like Christianity or Islam and these type of things, they have less rates of depression than people who are more into like new age, new thought, manifestation, etc. Now, I believe in manifestation. I'm within the niche, right? But people who are into this content end up being more depressed. Why? Because they only think about themselves. It constantly tells you to think about yourself. And that keeps you broke. So understand, if you want to manifest money in your life, start thinking about how you can help other people. I need to harp on this point because it might be one of the most important things that you hear in relation to making money ever. Consider other people's problems more than they consider them. Everybody's worried about themselves, just like you were worried about yourself. But you need to be exceptional, so start considering other people. I make this YouTube content, I am considering other people. I spent $300,000 and now I'm considering you with the knowledge that I've gained. Do you understand? Okay. Next, iteration. Iteration involves two things. One, your time horizon is too short. You want to get rich tomorrow. You want to get rich tomorrow because you're in survival mode. That's the only reason you would want to get rich tomorrow. And if you have problems with that, watch my survival mode video in 36 minutes. I will show you how to end survival mode for good and finally start importing money into your life. That is a phenomenal video. It's one of my favorites. Watch that video and subscribe if you haven't yet. Now, iteration. Your time horizon is too short. The reason your time horizon is so short is because you have been programmed to exchange your time for money. You go to your job and you get paid after a certain amount of time. Your hours are worth a certain amount of money and you get paid for those hours on a weekly, bi-weekly, monthly basis, right? So you have been programmed to say, when I do a certain amount of work, I get paid in this time span. The problem with business is you don't necessarily know when you're going to get paid. Like, you don't necessarily know. You will get paid, right? Because you've been pushing on the pendulum and the rhythm's going to swing back and it's going to hit, right? And along the way of pushing the pendulum, you're still going to be making some money. It's not like you're be making $0 if you're doing the things properly. But those big amounts, right? That's a swing to the other side of the work that you've done. Now, you need to understand you don't necessarily know when you're going to get paid. And that makes a lot of people anxious. That makes a lot of people like, oh my gosh, I don't know if this is going to work. I don't know if it's going to work. I don't know if it's going to work. This is why I said at the beginning, you need to consider yourself exceptional. You are exceptional. Therefore, you will get the money. You just don't know when. Imagine God comes to you and says, listen, if you do this particular thing, right? Let's say you make an offer and you create content and allow people to understand what you do. And God comes to you and says, listen, if you do that consistently, I'm going to make you a multimillionaire. I'm just not going to tell you when. What would you do? Would you just not do it? God told you that you're going to be a multimillionaire if you just be consistent with the work. Right? Be consistent with making content, promoting your offer, helping people. Be consistent. Show up at least once a week, maybe twice a week. And you'll be a multimillionaire. But God ain't telling you when. What are you going to do? You're going to not do it? That doesn't make sense to me. Right? And that's business. Okay? You don't know when. So you need to have a longer time horizon. You need to understand this could take some time. This could take a year. This could take 2 years. That's another quality amongst the people I've paid and other rich people I've met is that they're patient. They're patient. They have longer time horizons. They're thinking about the future. They're not worried. And here's what you have to understand. Patience is not just waiting around. Patience is knowing it will happen. It's like going to the gym, right? You go to the gym, you progressively overload, you lift your weights, you're consistent, you eat well. You don't just do that for one day. It's like a year or two before you see serious results. You need to have the time horizon for that. You think you're going to go to the gym one day and just come out Schwarzenegger? No. Right? So that's the first part of iteration. Understand time horizon. Okay? You have time. Secondly, actually, one more thing in terms of time horizons. Give things time to work. Some people just bounce from thing to thing to thing to thing to thing all the time and then wonder why nothing works because you didn't create potency. A frequency, because y'all are into manifestation, right? Frequency is vibration that is potent over time, vibration that continues over time. So in order to create the frequency of earning money or earning more money, you need to be consistent over time. You need to give something time to work. You're like, okay, I'm going to make YouTube videos, and you make one YouTube video and it gets 20 views and you quit. You never gave it a chance to work. You have to show up. So that's part of time horizons. Iteration, okay? You need to be able to hit a wall and make an adjustment. For instance, so you might try something. You might try it for 3 months and it's not working. Well, look at what you did and see, okay, what did work? What went wrong? What are people saying? How can I change this and iterate differently? And maybe that works. That's what I did with my channel. So when I first started YouTube, I had a bunch of videos out, right? When I first started YouTube, I did a 21-day challenge. I put out a video a day for 21 days. They all flopped, right? Okay, so what did I learn? Maybe take some more time with my videos, maybe think about the ideas more, maybe consider more what I'm doing, maybe edit more. I'm not editing this video though. This is me just talking to you because, to be honest with you, I was going to do a whole big edited video this week and then I didn't get an idea for it. So I'm like, but I got the idea for this today, so I'm doing it now. But yeah. And I had like 150 odd videos or something like that. I deleted a bunch of them and then really considered what I was gonna do. And then within a couple of weeks, I had a video hit maybe 30K views. And now my channel has 6K subscribers. And that happened in 2 months, right? After deleting all that stuff. That was an iteration. That was me hitting a wall and saying, what can I do differently? That wasn't me throwing everything out. If you have a fitness offer, right? If you help people get fit, and when you get on sales calls with people, for instance, or you try and sell to people, for instance, that they don't buy, it doesn't mean you should stop doing fitness. It means you're doing something wrong in the sales process. So you just have to iterate that and see what's going wrong, try new things, and continue on. That's business, is hitting the walls, hitting the failures, and iterating, moving around. It's like in a video game and you're fighting a boss that you can't beat, and you've tried the same method over and over and over to beat him, and you realize, you know what? I need to try something else. Maybe I need to dodge this way or use this item instead, or hit him here and be patient, and you start iterating. So that's very, very important for business. That's probably one of the most massive things I learned from paying all of these people. And then, so that was 4 things, right? That was be exceptional. That was dealing with failure. That was selfishness. Please, if you take one thing from this video, just don't be selfish. Just don't be selfish. That's it. Iteration. And then finally is projecting a message into the world. You need to get the attention of other people. Because where's money come from? Other people. Other people pay you. All right? Other people exchange their energy for what they think you can do to help them, because you're not selfish. You've thought of their problem and you are having them exchange money to solve it. You have them paying you to solve it. But the only way they're going to know is if you put a message into the world. You have to put a message into the world. I show up every week on YouTube and project my message into the world. I help people earn money using the universal laws, the principles that govern the universe. I will teach you how to turn your mind, your knowledge into money in your bank account and earn far more than you're making now. I will show you how to go from step 1 all the way to the end. Whether you've been in business before, if you're in business now, if you're selling your knowledge now, you've never sold anything online before, I can help you along every piece of the process, because it's all based in universal law. You can try to thwart the laws of man, but you can't thwart the laws of the universe. So if I teach you how to use the laws of the universe to earn money, it's always going to work. And I'm very cautious of using the word always, because nearly anything is not an always matter, but the universal laws are constant. So you may as well get them on your side. They are immutable and unchangeable. So that's what I do. That's how I help people earn money. Taking all the skills I learned, all the $300s of thousands of dollars I spent, and I teach other people. And I project a message into the world so that people know me. How am I supposed to get paid if no one knows who I am? Now, there are exceptions, because like I told you before, I paid people who people don't know, right? But that's not what I teach, because that's a whole other ballgame. There's luck involved in that, tons of connections involved in that, all sorts of things that are kind of out of my control to teach you. So I don't teach that. But yeah, figure out what it is you can do to help people, because you're not selfish. And then start talking about it on the internet. And don't worry about giving away the information. Don't worry about giving away, because people aren't going to do it anyways, because it's free. Like I told you before, you need to invest in yourself. Don't worry about giving away the info. You can go on my YouTube, and if you implement the things in my videos, you will earn money. But you're not going to implement them unless you pay. So there is an exception to the whole projection thing. You don't necessarily have to project a message online. But that's what I teach people how to do. It's the easiest way to access multiple people who can buy your stuff, who can utilize the service that you provide, who need their problem solved. Because like I told you before, there's tons of people I paid that they're not on the internet like that. They don't have a presence like that. But they still have projected a message. They've just projected it to certain types of people in the physical world, not the digital world, right? So they might meet with other business owners at certain events or certain networking opportunities, or they might get a bunch of emails for certain businesses and deal with them that way, that sort of thing. So they don't necessarily project a message into the world, but that's not what I teach because I prefer it this way. So that's what you got to do. And if you are afraid to project a message into the world, it is because, like I said before, you have, did I say it before? Possibly. But you have emotional charges in the way, usually around shame, fear, and guilt. And I can help you cancel those things out and earn more money through my program, The Next Realm. So if you're interested in that, link is in the description below. And I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see y'all next time. Peace.